Okay, so good evening to everyone. Tonight is the last lesson of this series. We've talked about the Buddhist teachings in general, doctrines on the Noble Eightfold Path, how is it related to non-violence. We talked about the ethics, the monastic rules especially, with regard to non-violence and the disciplinary cases. We talk about even politics, how politics and government and the leadership over dealing such ethics and versus the monks, how they deal with such issues. And yes, so tonight we will talk more on loving kindness, metta, loving kindness. So there's this interesting sutta, I would say, taking it to the extreme. In some other religion, maybe in Christianity, they will tell you, turn the other cheek. If somebody slap you, you turn the other cheek and offer the other cheek for them to slap, So in Buddhism, what's the similar or equivalent? So there's this simile of the saw, this particular scripture, simile of the saw. So it starts off with the Buddha giving an example of a lay person. This is just a scenario. And there's this worker, domestic worker, seemed to be very kind-hearted, very patient. So people praise her, say, oh, this person very patient. And owner decided to test this domestic worker. Start to shout at her, start to do all kinds of funny things to her. Then she start to show temper already. But of course, please do not do this. This is just an example. So using that as an analogy, the Buddha brought forward to the practitioners. So his audience is the monks. So the Buddha will mention, I will just read from this particular quote. A monk may be ever so gentle, ever so even-tempered, ever so calm, as long as he is not touched by disagreeable aspects of speech. So when people are kind to you, generally we're kind. So the real crisis comes from problem. But it's when disagreeable aspects of speech touch him that he can be known from experience as gentle, even-tempered, and calm. So when problems happen and you still can remain calm and gentle, then it's real Kung Fu. It's real Kung Fu. If a lot of time people go for retreat, meditation retreat, or Buddhist centers, Buddhist temple, everybody's so nice to each other. Then nobody show temper. Then you think, oh, I practice very well. Then you step outside, only gone. All the temper will come out again. So the real test is when you face problem and you still can remain even tempered. That means very patient and very gentle. You don't show any form of harsh speech or harsh action. Thinking we will be easy to admonish and make ourselves easy to admonish purely out of esteem of the Dhamma. Respect for the Dhamma, reverence for the Dhamma, that's how you should train yourselves. So earlier on we chanted the refuge in the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So if you really want to respect, or if you truly take refuge in the Dhamma or the triple gem, then this is like the least you can do. And the least you can do. That means apply the teachings. For example, a person may, let's say, take up driving course. After take up the driving course, they never drive. Or take up some other course but never use. So same thing. If you want to learn the Dhamma, you must use, must apply. But the good thing about Dhamma is you don't have to wait until you get the COE and buy the car, The Dhamma is every moment where you see, hear, smell, think, taste and touch. And you have a chance to either get angry or be peaceful. So it's every moment. Either you can get irritated by the feelings, or you get experience pleasant feelings and react with greed. So that is moment to moment. So every moment is a chance to practice. And so the Buddha mentioned, you want to respect the Dhamma, you try your best. We try our best to follow this thing, not to get angry. Okay, next. Okay, so what is this unpleasant speech or pleasant speech? Different types of speech that will trigger a person. Amongst, there are these 5 aspects of speech by which others may address you: timely or untimely, true or false, affectionate or harsh, beneficial or unbeneficial, with a mind of goodwill or inner hate. So we covered this also, I think, in the first lesson on right speech. So these are the conditions of right speech. So you need to, the first condition is you need to tell the truth. Then you need to see the right time or not. If the person not in the right mood or not the proper occasion, then you don't have to say. For example, like sharing Dhamma, need to be invited, Like for example, there's an audience ready, then I can come and share. Imagine you walk up to somebody who is not interested, then you tell them, you must believe in triple gem, If not, you'll be reborn in the 3 lower realm. Then they'll get very pissed off. So that's, you need to find the right occasion. Then the next condition, affectionate or harsh. So the delivery have to be out of kindness. You cannot deliver out of harshness. So if it's harshness, then it will backfire, people won't accept, or they might have negative imprint of the Dhamma. Next time they don't want to learn anymore. So the first impression is very important. Then the next one, beneficial or unbeneficial. So whatever you share has to be beneficial. So you can share the truth, but may not be beneficial. Like I can say anything under the sun. The sun is round, the earth is round, the grass is green, the sky is blue, and nothing related to improving your spirituality. So it has to be beneficial. Then the 5th one, with mind, goodwill, or inner hate. So it's got to do with intention. So a person can say it affectionately, but the intention may not be good, So like people serving customer service, they have to put up a front to be nice to customers, but may not be out of goodwill. May not be out of goodwill in the mind. Why this customer keep complaining I want to clock out of work already. Why still want to come here? So you have all these motives or intention. So we need to check. We have these 5 before speaking. So it's a training for right speech. Right. So if it's unbeneficial or harsh or all this stuff, then this harshness come to you, or somebody speak the unwholesome things to you, of the 5 unwholesome things to you, then this is where the training comes in to test your Kung Fu. Okay, next slide. So in the Tibetan tradition, there's these I think 8 verses of thought transformation. Is it? There's 8 verses. So in Theravada Buddhism, we have 5. 5 verses of thought transformation. So some people, when you hear of stories of maybe the lamas being imprisoned or being tortured, then they can still practice their bodhicitta. You can remain compassionate towards the captors or the torturers. So it's very similar, something similar. So we are going to read together. In any event, you should train yourselves. You can read with your mic off. our minds will be unaffected, and we will say no evil words. We will remain sympathetic to that person's welfare with a mind of goodwill and with no inner hate. We will keep pervading him or her with an awareness imbued with goodwill and beginning with him or her. We will keep pervading the all-encompassing world with an awareness imbued with goodwill, abundant, expansive, immeasurable, free from hostility, free from ill will. Okay, so these 5 sentences say a lot of things, In fact, it may give some like meditation instructions also. So the first point, our minds will be unaffected. So this one comes from practice. Not easy to say, I want to be unaffected. It's as good as saying, I want to be liberated. We want our minds to be liberated. So the first sentence is more like the product of your continuous practice. So in order to achieve the first one, you need to have preparation. Then the second one, we will say no evil words. So this one is your practice of your precept on right speech. So again, needs training, so it's habit. So if let's say you're brought up in an environment that you're taught or brought up to be courteous and kind, then it should be easier. Then some people maybe a bit harsh or like to scold. They need to train. You cannot say, this is like my character or what. Then I have to behave like that. So need to train So we will say no evil words. And number 3, we will remain sympathetic to the person's welfare with a mind of goodwill and with no inner hate. So this one you need to check your own intention. What's your state of mind? And number 4, very interesting. We will keep pervading him with an awareness imbued with goodwill and beginning with him. So number 3 is basically to kickstart or jumpstart this loving kindness. So goodwill here is metta, loving kindness. This is Ajahn Thanisaro's translation. His translation of metta is goodwill. Other translators, they translate as friendliness or loving kindness. So Ajahn Jeffrey or Ajahn Thanisaro translate as goodwill. So the 4th one is interesting. The post-canonical version, that means the later works, those authors that write meditation manuals way after the scriptures timeline, they will say start from yourself. Loving kindness start with oneself, then spread to your loved ones, then the neutral parties, then followed by your enemies. But this one very interesting. Start from the troublemaker first. So this one not easy. So we are going to do a thought experiment. If you were to imagine your loved one, and you check your emotion. It's like, for example, some people go to temple, pai, right? Then normally they have the common formula, you wish yourself, wish your family, health and peace and success or whatever. So something like that, you start from your loved ones or yourself, then you check the emotion. If good, then you give me a thumbs up. If you don't give me a thumbs up, I treat you like robot, no emotion. All have, Okay, yeah, some people have. The rest are robots. Okay, then now we are going to think of someone else. Think of somebody you dislike. Have emotion? No emotion. This Louis high practitioner already, advanced practitioner already. Have I got emotion? Okay, so we are not free from feelings, So we learn in the first lesson, the 5 aggregates. So we have this feeling aggregate. So there's a pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feeling. So when we have contact with something that we don't like, confirm we have unpleasant feeling. If everything is pleasant feeling, that means you have total control of your 5 aggregates already. Then it goes against the law of non-self, impermanent suffering non-self. Then you beat the game already. So the idea, the 5 aggregates, surely will have unpleasant feeling. So the idea of loving kindness is to transcend these feelings, be it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So in real life situation, in the field environment, in your real work life environment, you may not have time to start from yourself, or start from a loved one and wish them well and happy. Sometimes the troublemaker or whoever, unwholesome person straight away come up to you already. Then you need to start with that person first. So we need to use a neutral tool. So for those who have been learning meditation from me, we start off with the 4 elements. We perceive everybody as the 4 elements. So it doesn't matter whether you're likable, dislikable, everybody is made of the 4 elements, made of the 5 aggregates. Last week we have this analogy, see mountains as not mountains. So we are going to perceive the troublemaker as not a mountain. The troublemaker is not a troublemaker. So we are going to use another contemplation. Everybody made of skeleton, everybody of flesh, everybody made of 4 elements, something along this line. So once you do that, the perception will change. So this is easier to start off platform. You cannot say without any of this reflection, I see somebody I dislike, immediately full of love. Then like that you enlighten already. You're free from anger already. So we need to start off with a proper tool. So these Dhamma tool are the objects of reflection, objects of contemplation. So maybe later on we'll have some time to try out. So you just keep this in mind first. Okay, then the 5th one. We will keep pervading the all-encompassing world with an awareness imbued with goodwill. Abundant, expansive, immeasurable, free from hostility, free from ill will. So starting from the person, then you extend out to everywhere. So it's not a one point, it's a large area, suffused to the entire environment. So that is the 5th point. So it's in line with other suttas also. For example, the Karaniya Metta Sutta, to pervade the loving kindness in all directions. So that's the practice. Because in life, we have different spatial cognitive function. We cannot be zoomed into the screen all the time. Sometimes when we cross the road, we cannot be zoomed in on one area. Then we get into accident. We need to look around, be aware of the environment, aware of the surroundings. So while being aware of the surroundings, we still can keep a wholesome mind or a detached mind. So this is the real world application. Ideally, we can practice in all situations, all cognitive scenarios. So that's the 5th point. So when the mind is pervaded all directions, everywhere, you also can practice. Some people think practice means must focus on the breath, one point. Then when you get up from your meditation, you cannot be focused here already. You need to talk to people, you need to look around. Then they say, no time to practice. No time to practice anymore, no time to cultivate, especially if you're busy working. So the 5th one, is actually a good, I would say, all-rounder kind of object, because it's an emotional object, emotional meditation object. It's just like, for example, some people can get angry the whole day, or get grumpy the whole day, get upset the whole day. We are just doing the opposite law. We just train the opposite, how to be kind the whole day or happy the whole day. So it's the total opposite. So the fifth one is to maintain this wholesome state of mind the whole day, easier to work with. So you don't have to busy focus on one point and not applicable in your daily life. Okay, next. So this is an example how to maintain the mind that is immeasurable. So if you do all the 5 points properly, the mind should be quite abundant and immeasurable. So I think earlier on, the first few lessons, somebody asked a question. If somebody do some wrong thing, very small wrong karma, bad karma, how to overcome it? You need to overcome with a big amount of good karma. So if you train your mind to be abundant, vast, and wholesome, then the small irritation caused by others will be like nothing. Will be like nothing. So the example here is this. Suppose that a man were to come along carrying a hoe and a basket. So the hoe is, I think, a soil digging kind of tool, saying, I will make this great earth be without earth. So this person, or this person carrying the farming tools, wish to empty the entire earth, make the entire earth disappear by digging. Do you think it's possible? Cannot, right? So he would dig here, dig there, scatter soil here and there, spit here and there, urinate here and there, saying, be without earth, be without earth. Now what do you think? Would he make this great earth be without earth? So everybody here disagree. No, Lord. Why is that? Because this great earth is deep and enormous. It can't easily be made to be without earth. The man would reap only a share of weariness and disappointment. So this is how vast you should develop your loving kindness. The area, at least this metaphorical example, your loving kindness should be as boundless as the great earth. Then the irritation is like the small digging tool, so it cannot affect your mind. So that's the first example. Okay, next slide. So the next example the Buddha will give, suppose that a man were to come along carrying lac, yellow, or pigment, indigo or crimson, basically painting, art and craft, saying, I will draw pictures in space. I will make pictures appear. Now what do you think? Would he draw pictures in space and make pictures appear? What do you think? You start to paint the sky or spray paint the sky with the color stick there. No, right? You just like scatter and disappear. No, Lord. Why is that? Because space is formless and featureless. It's not easy to draw pictures there and to make them appear. That man would reap only a share of weariness and disappointment. So the whole idea is, again, keep the mind boundless, as big as the sky or the space. Okay, next. Suppose that a man were to come along carrying a burning grass torch and saying, with this burning grass torch, I will heat up the river Ganges and make it boil. So this time is the water. You want to evaporate the entire water body with just a small torch. Now what do you think? Would he with that burning grass torch, heat up the river Ganges and make it boil. No, Lord. Why is that? Because the river Ganges is deep and enormous, it's not easy to heat it up and make it boil with burning grass torch. The man would reap only a share of weariness and disappointment. Okay, next. Monks. Okay, so this one is the extreme example. Okay, so we go to the previous one again. Previous slide. Okay, so we're going to do a short trial how to get peace of mind. So normally I don't teach visualization meditation, but this particular theme is a very good example, easier to apply. So you may try starting from the earth element. So the post-canonical manual will, ask you to visualize a small object, take a round, sorry, you can't see from the screen, never mind, round disc, small disc, and stare at this. Whereas in the sutta description, they ask you to visualize the entire environment. So you can try this. Imagine you are like in a desert, surrounded by sand, by soil. So that's all you think about. Don't need to visualize anybody there. Don't have to think of the creatures, the living beings there. It's just soil, soil, and nothing but soil. Vast soil, standing in the middle of this desert. And the soil is very even, no ups and downs. It's just pure soil, sand, soil, sand, soil. And if you spend some time there, don't have to imagine what you're doing there, just sand and soil. Okay, who finds it calming? Nobody. Okay, a few people. Okay, so again, for those who are more visual and may work for you. So this is one method to keep the mind calm. Another method would be if you change the scenario. So instead of sand, we use the sky. So imagine like you just staring up at the sky. Don't have to think of the sun, don't have to think of the birds or whatever creatures, just the sky. Don't have to think of the aeroplane and anything, just purely the sky. It should have a similar calming effect. And if let's say for whatever reason you don't like the earth, you don't like the sky, then you can use water, water body. So imagine like you are, snorkeling or maybe watching the documentary film like Animal Planet, but without the animals. You don't have to think of the shark or the fishes or anybody, no ships, no nothing. You are inside the middle of the water body, like the ocean, and just vast water everywhere, like in an aquarium. Inside the aquarium, no nothing, just water, surrounded by a large amount of water. Okay, then should have a similar calming effect. So that's sort of using the expanded version of the elements. So if you encounter somebody and your attention cannot enlarge to like this environment, you may try this kind of thing to calm the mind. Or you want to try my sort of regular method, then you start with the elements law. So when you look at the person, there will be some sensations within the body, some sensations with the body, then you can wish all beings well and happy. So if you look at a person, you wish him well and happy, wish all the beings well and happy, or whatever sensation that arises from looking at the person, you wish all beings well and happy. So basically, may all beings be well and happy is your mantra. So you can do that, just keep repeating, may all beings be well and happy, and you can kind of see where it goes. So this one non-visual, so this is a non-visual method for those who are not too into visualization. There's more on sensation. So if you use sensations, whatever sensation appear, all these sensations are the four elements also. Earth element are the hard and soft sensations. Fire element is the hot and cold sensations. Wind element is the movements, any kind of movements. And the water element is the moist or dry sensations. So any of these appear, we just wish, may all beings be well and happy. So in order to work, you need repetition, right effort. It's not just wish one time, then the mind start to daydream all over the place. So this one need practice. So in order to achieve the 5 points, require practice. So who feels calm? So there's a different calming effect from the visualization. Okay, so that's a few tools for you to try to practice and eventually able to apply in all scenarios. And because in daily life, the awareness or the cognitive attention sometimes can be zoomed within yourself, can be zoomed at the person, just one point, sometimes can be a large area, so you can try a different combination. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is the extreme part. So just read through the quote. Monks, even if bandits were to carve you up savagely, limb by limb, with a two-handed saw, he among you who let his heart get angered, even at that would not be doing my bidding. So the Buddha wants his disciples to not get angry even when somebody were to cut you up. So this is how high the bar the Buddha set. So it's not easy to sort of practice. So imagine the Buddha never says self-defense. The Buddha said you should punch the bandit, or you should kick the bandit. Apply self-defense. So interestingly, in meditation practice, it's to practice selflessness. So for those who haven't reached selflessness, then they still want to defend themselves or whatever reason. So this one is have a heart of non-anger. So the background is not the appropriate background. It's not magic show. So it's a real sawing up of the person. Even then, you should train yourselves. Our minds will be unaffected, and we will say no evil words. So this is the thought transformation verses. Again, you can read along with me from the second paragraph. Our minds will be unaffected, and we will say no evil words. We will remain sympathetic with a mind of goodwill and with no inner hate. We will keep pervading these people with an awareness imbued with goodwill, and beginning with them, we will keep pervading the all-encompassing world with an awareness imbued with goodwill, abundant, expansive, immeasurable, free from hostility, free from ill will. That's how you should train yourselves. Right, so this one need to train lah. So we, according to again the first lesson, or should be the first lesson, only a non-returner and onwards have no more anger. 三果罗汉, no more anger. So not easy to train to be this Buddha's kind of benchmark. Okay, next slide. Monks, if you attend constantly to this admonition on the simile of the saw, do you see any aspect of speech, slight or gross, that you could not endure? No, Lord. So you have to sometimes motivate yourself and think, okay, in the worst case scenario, people sawing you, you shouldn't get angry. So whatever crisis you face should be no problem. So this is how extreme the Buddha kind of portrayed this example. Then attend constantly to this admonition on the simile of the saw. That will be for your long-term welfare and happiness. Wow, okay, so this is the teaching on how to overcome all this harshness. Okay, next. Any questions so far before I move on? No issues. All can follow. Okay, then we're going to...
sorry, okay. I have a question. Sorry, I cannot on my video now.
Okay.
Can I clarify what's the difference between point 3 and 4? Because point 3 is to have the thought of metta.
Yep.
But point 4, awareness of metta, like is it, because to me when I have the thought of metta, I will also have the awareness, right? Like to me quite same. So what's the difference between
point 4 is to place the attention on the person that you don't like, or the person irritating you.
Pay attention on the person. Okay.
Yeah, irritating you.
Oh.
Yeah, so in order to do that successfully, you cannot focus on the unpleasant feeling. So if you want to be successful with that loving kindness, you need to transform him to not a mountain. So you have to use other contemplative objects. Can be the 4 elements, can be 32 parts of the body, whatever. Yeah.
Or the Pante's method, like may all beings be well and happy, that one is also okay, right?
Yes, correct. Because your attention in real life setting will have to focus on the person irritating you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Pante.
Okay, alright. So one good example is our own personal training is, if let's say you sit and meditate, sure we have body pain. So that body pain is the good form of simulation. So body pain, do you get angry or can you make peace with the pain? Yeah, so we start from there. So if you cannot even overcome this irritation, then forget about the other things. So the concept is similar. Wherever you place your attention, if there's an unpleasant feeling and you pursue with wrong attention, then you get angry. But if you have appropriate attention or you have the right reflection, then you can overcome that anger. So that's the short summary of it.
Yeah, can I clarify further? Because previously I remember Pante said before, let's say when there's a situation of anger, if like our Kung Fu not good yet, it's better to avoid, avoid first, right? Yeah, so in this case, the instruction is actually focus on the person, so yeah, this clarify.
So if you try and still get more angry, then you avoid lor.
Oh, okay. Like we can try first.
Yeah, you can try first. Yeah, it's better to lose the battle and then tackle the war later.
Okay. Yeah. And when we focus on the person, do we view him like the 4 elements, or like, let's say when I focus on the person, what should I focus on?
Yeah, correct. See the person as not a person. Yeah, see as the 4 elements or the 32 parts of the body or whatever that can reduce that aversion.
Okay. Yeah, clearer to me now. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I'll any questions before I move on? Okay, then we'll just move on to the next slide. Okay, so the last few aspects of non-violence is that because in life we are not perfect, so I think most of us will have committed some form of violence before. We may have killed something before, maybe intentionally or unintentionally harmed something or harmed someone. So we need to have follow-up. Forgiveness. It's not like we are condemned forever. So there's a path of forgiveness and transformation. So the common story we use is this person called Angulimala. Who have not heard of this person, Angulimala? All heard before? Wow, okay, so basic Buddhist knowledge. Okay, so just a quick recap. Angulimala, or this person, before he was a monk, he was sent to this particular kind of institution to learn certain knowledge. So upon graduation, they have to repay the teacher by fulfilling the teacher's command. The teacher will have the student do an assignment, and the student have to complete the assignment to repay that teacher. So happened that due to certain people politics in that school, in that institution, that teacher got jealous, got angry with this Angulimala. So that institution is not a Buddhist institution, it's some other institution. Because the other students, the other classmates of Angulimala is very jealous of him, so they tell the teacher that, oh, okay, this Angulimala is sleeping with your wife. And somehow that teacher bought the story. And upon this graduation, that teacher wanted Angulimala to kill 1,000 people. And the instruction was to collect 1,000 fingers, different, each finger from a different person. So basically it's to kill 1,000 people and give that as an offering. So he had to obey. Somehow I do not know why he'd want to refuse. So he kind of followed the instruction. He was on his path of killing, like a killing spree. He kind of killed 999 people. According to the story, he could run faster than a horse and chase after carriages to kill people. So what kind of ability can make a person run faster than a horse? So probably that institution is to teach those supernatural feats, those esoteric kind of knowledges. So he managed to learn this ability to run super fast and kill people. So upon collecting 999 fingers, then he's on his way to collect the last finger. And by that time, the king of that region, I've forgotten his name, could be Pasenadi or Bimbisara. So one of the king decided to hunt down that criminal. So he brought an army to the forest, want to hunt and persecute this person, this Angulimala. And what happened is, the mother knew about it. The mother of Angulimala knew about it. So out of love and care for the child, wanted to warn the child of this arrest by the king. So quickly ran to the forest to search for the child. And this Angulimala is like, okay, today is his final target. Whoever he sees first, he will kill. So the mother was the potential victim. But somehow the Buddha was doing his morning meditation. And the Buddha has this routine that he will use his Buddha eye to search for potential candidate to be saved. So somehow, whatever the conditions are right, the image that appear in the Buddha's mind is this Angulimala, this fella. And the Buddha kind of knew what happened, that if this Angulimala were to kill the mother, he will have no more chance to be saved. So in Buddhism, we believe in the 5 heinous crimes. 5 heinous crimes. If you commit these crimes, confirm go to hell one. Confirm go to hell for a very, very, very long time. So the heinous crimes, killing father, killing mother, hurting the Buddha, killing an Arahant, and the 5th one, creating a schism in the Sangha. So these are the 5 heinous crimes. Confirm is go to hell. So the Buddha thought that, okay, this person still might have a chance to be saved. So before the mother came in range to this Angulimala, the Buddha somehow teleported in front of this Angulimala. The Buddha have a lot of these special abilities. So he teleported in front of the Angulimala. So the Angulimala was like, okay, this is the final target. He wanted to chase and kill the Buddha. So he ran and ran and ran. Even though he has this super normal ability to run super fast, he's unable to chase the Buddha. He's unable to catch up the Buddha. And the Buddha wasn't even running. The Buddha had more power than this Angulimala. So the Buddha is walking slowly. And after some time, this Angulimala got very tired. He take the knife, run after the Buddha, run and run and run. Cannot chase. So he asked the Buddha to stop. Monk, stop. And the Buddha replied to him, I've already stopped, but you haven't stopped. Then this Angulimala is like, what do you mean by you stop? I keep running and chasing, but I cannot chase after you. So the Buddha said, he stopped killing. He has stopped killing, but this Angulimala hasn't stopped killing. And after observing the whole situation, this Angulimala is like, hey, this fella, more powerful than his teacher, is able to somehow warp time and space or whatever, unable to run and chase after the Buddha. So he decided, okay, to drop the knife and follow the Buddha. So the Chinese, there is saying, 放下屠刀立地成佛. Maybe come from this story. So he dropped the knife, but not yet enlightened. He dropped the knife and decided to ordain, become a monk. So he became a monk, and somehow the king that was witch hunting this person decided to let him go. Because somehow the Buddha managed to persuade the king that if he managed to ordained this serial killer, will you still pursue and persecute him? And the king thought the Buddha is kidding. How to tame this serial killer is impossible. So the king said, of course I will let him go. So the king out of joke like that. The king don't think it's serious. Then the Buddha showed this fella, this monk. This is Angulimala. So the king is like, oh yeah, he cannot take back his words. He promised already. So okay, the king let him go. But okay, let's move on to the next slide. But as a monk, even though the king let him go, but other people may not let him go. And the friends and the relatives of the victims or the people being murdered still remember this person, this serial killer. So every time he walk out in public only, go for arms round, kana hamtam, kana whack. People take sticks and stones, throw at him, beat him. So every time he come back injured and bleeding. So he's been going through this torment for quite a long time. And the Buddha asked him to bear with this, and this is the karmic consequences. So he has no choice to bear these karmic consequences. Then eventually, he also reached enlightenment. Eventually. So the moral of the story is, a person can turn over a new leaf. So even a serial killer can turn over a new leaf. So that's the moral of the story. This serial killer killed 999 person. So if let's say we kind of practice more, we talk about earlier on, one small evil deed, we need to have like a large amount to override this small negativity. So imagine this person killed 999 humans, So the amount of goodness you have to do have to be much more immeasurable. So this is how hard and how tough was his training he has to go through. So he has to get beaten up every day, and after some time, I do not know how long, so he managed to get enlightened eventually. So that's the story of Angulimala. Okay, so I'll end my... one more slide. Yes. Okay, so if let's say we've done anything wrong, we kind of broken or transgressed any of the precepts, especially for a layperson, you still can confess. You can confess to Triple Gem, to the Buddha image, or to the monastic you've taken refuge under, the monastic that given you the precepts. You can confess to them, ask forgiveness, and retake the precepts. So for forgiveness, the best is you approach the person you've wronged, or the person that wronged you, and then you seek forgiveness or forgive the person. But if the person is not around for whatever reason, let's say they pass away already, or they're in some unknown location, you cannot contact them anymore, then you seek forgiveness from the Triple Gem. So that is the whole idea. Right, then for the layperson, especially the Theravada tradition, you can retake the precepts as many times as you like. But make sure you don't take it like a small issue. You have to be serious that you want to transform. Then you go to the monastic that you wish to receive the precepts. Then you retake the precepts. So that's the gist of it. And I end the sharing. So because tonight is the last session, so I'll open the floor earlier for more Q&A. And if you have any issues or you want to comment or ask questions, feel free to do so.
Alright, so for those who have any questions, you can unmute yourself to ask Santi a question, or you can type it in the chat box. Okay, Bante, perhaps I could start with the first question.
Okay.
So earlier on you mentioned about to see a person not as a person, but in their elements. What about for emotions then? How can we view the emotion? Let's say you are I'm very happy over a pleasant thing that's happened. How can I downplay it so that I do not get so excited that that good thing happened?
Okay. So one of the subjects that I kind of teach in the class is to cultivate equanimity, not to be affected by the emotion. We use the reflection on karma. All beings are subject to karma. So if, let's say, happy emotion arise, then we just say this is good karma's ripening.
Okay.
We don't have to imagine, or in the past I must have done certain thing before to experience this. So we don't have to know the cause. Don't have to speculate, don't have to know, don't have to guess what's the cause. We just say this is karma's ripening. So based on your real-time evidence, whatever they're experiencing now, whatever sensation you're experiencing now, can be emotion, can be sensation, can be elements, can be thought formations, can be anything. All these are formations, karmic formations. So we just say karma's ripening. So that's the mantra, karma's ripening. So any sensation appear, moment to moment, karma's ripening, karma's ripening. So if you keep on doing that, then the mind will achieve a certain kind of balance.
Oh. And it will no longer be so attached to the emotion itself?
In a way, yes, in a way, yeah.
Okay, because I find that when the pleasant emotions happen, sometimes decisions are made when in a good mood. We may make decisions which otherwise after that we regret because we were in a good mood. Yeah.
Yeah, so another way to do it is, if you want to reflect using wisdom, then use impermanence. So you just label rising and passing. So that's the mantra, rising, passing.
Okay.
So if you have this continuation before that strong happy emotion appear, then it's easier to rectify. But let's say you never practice all the while, suddenly got something, then a bit hard to pull back.
Oh, okay. Okay, right. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Anyone else? Let's see.
Yeah, Bande.
Maybe.
Maybe not a question, but just some thoughts. Yeah, because I'm thinking for asking forgiveness, right, from someone, I think it has to be done skillfully also. Because let's say I go up to a person, telling he or she that something I done wrong before, may bring the bad memory for the person. Then he may get angry. He may say, "Oh, you do this kind of thing to me, and you still want me to forgive you." So I'm just imagining, yeah. So I'm thinking like I have to be very skillful and maybe very sincere, or not sure the person ready or not. just his thought.
Yeah, very good point. So if the person is not ready to forgive you, then if you invite him or her for a meetup, they'll probably turn down that meeting. So you need to set the agenda, right? Like maybe you can discuss over a meal or treat the person a meal, and kind of soften things up. So if they are willing to join your meal, accept your invitation, then there might be a chance.
Yeah, maybe like what Bante mentioned, like test water first. Because if the person don't even want to meet, that means not ready yet.
Yeah, correct.
Then in that case, maybe at least ourselves confess and ask forgiveness from Triple Gem first, and hopefully when the condition is right. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Bante.
No problem. Yes, there's a question from Geraldine.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Thank you for sharing the Dhamma with us across these many weeks. Just to say, I really enjoyed the topic of forgiveness tonight. My question is, are there suttas where the Buddha taught us to be forgiving towards other people who have caused hurt?
So the main one is this story of Angulimala. You want to forgiveness. There's more on prevention, more on like the moral guilt and shame, and that is like prevent us from doing wrong. Forgiveness. Yeah, I can't really come up with anything in my mind right now. But this one you can use it with the help of Google. So nowadays Google can answer. Google better than the monks now. So I'm not like Venerable Ananda. I cannot remember all the sutta. So now we have the help of Google. So nowadays there's this interesting app or this tool, AI tool, better than ChatGPT. It's called Norbu, Norbu. It's there's a Malaysian that set up this program, this AI tool better than ChatGPT. But ChatGPT is like too comprehensive, but this Norbu is just streamlined down to the Tipitaka. So you can search that on you can just search on the Google Norbu, and you might find it. Then you can ask the Norbu question, did the Buddha teach anything on forgiveness?
I was wondering, how about if let's say we know where we've been hurt in the past by certain incidents or people, and such memories come out maybe during meditation or in daily life. What would be the Buddhist approach to it? How do we manage it?
Yeah, very good question, right? So like the question Ming we asked earlier, if let's say we have wronged someone and that person is not ready to accept, then the whole idea is to not generate any more unwholesomeness in the mind. That means we try not to create more restlessness and worry and guilt. So we need to do something to protect the mind, Yeah, so we can use the theme on forgiveness. Yeah, so we can either seek forgiveness on the triple gem, or in the mind, mentally we forgive that person. Yeah, depends on the who wrong who. So you can do that in the mental way, or we can use like the other objects of meditation that we mentioned earlier, like loving kindness and all this, and suffuse the mind and make the mind a bit more immeasurable. It's more like more like cushioning effect for the mind, so that the impact won't emotionally scar the mind too much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, no problem. Any other questions?
I think Gunho maybe has a question.
Okay, yeah, you can ask.
Hi, Bhante. And I just joined this this is the last session.
Yes.
Any playback or recording of these topics?
Yes, they will upload it on YouTube, so you can get more info from Louis.
Yes, the recording will be uploaded in the chat group.
Okay,
so
thank
maybe
you.
later you can scan the QR code and join the chat group.
Oh, where is the QR code? Is it the
Later
poster?
I will show the QR code.
Oh, thank you. Second question. Just now, Bhante mentioned about the non-returner stream, Sampo Lohan.
Yep.
Can Bhante briefly explain from the 一果到四果罗汉, what is the main, the significant difference?
Okay, so I mentioned it, I think, in the first or second lesson. So each one of them have like different defilements to overcome. So normally we use like the checklist of the 10 defilements, 10 fetters, Fetters, 10 kind of chains that bind us to samsara. So these 10 things. So the first 3, a stream enterer, this equal Lohana, will overcome 3 things. First one is doubt in the Four Noble Truths. That means they will experience the Four Noble Truths. They will have a glimpse of the Four Noble Truths. That means they will experience certain peace or happiness devoid of craving. Because normally we get happiness from our craving, like we watch our favorite show, or we go shopping, eat our favorite food, or watch our favorite entertainment. So all these are hedonistic or materialistic kind of happiness, mundane kind of sense pleasure happiness. So imagine if we can practice until we don't need to depend on that for happiness. We still can get happy without that. So the person, we have no doubt, oh, there is a higher kind of happiness. So they have no more doubt. There's something higher. So that's the first one, they overcome. So by practicing the Noble Eightfold Path law, then you need to reflect or understand, and then you emotionally experience it, not theoretical experience, not theoretical understanding, but emotionally experience this peace and happiness. So that's the first one.
This emotional experience means that sense the real experience of this higher peace, or
it's a real. That means you experience for yourself. It's not guesswork. It's not by reading
or based on book knowledge.
It's not book knowledge.
Okay.
It's an experience. Okay, so no more doubt in the Four Noble Truths. That's the first defilement to overcome. The second and third is related, because if a person have not discovered this happiness, they will fully rely the happiness on the sense pleasure. Agree? So most of our activities or our routine will revolve around getting happiness from the sense pleasure. For example, maybe a football fan will like to watch soccer match or their football match. So their ritual is to turn on that channel and watch their favorite football team, and maybe buy the jersey and support that team. So it's a kind of ritual. So we call this clinging to ritual. That's the second factor. So if a person can overcome this second factor, clinging to rites and ritual, any kind of ritual that promotes unwholesome state of mind, so addiction to entertainment, getting greedy, getting angry, increasing delusion, so all these are considered unwholesome kind of rituals. So if a person were to bow to the Buddha and ask for 4D number, I would call it an unwholesome ritual. So if a person truly understands, they see the truth, then they will not do that. So overcoming these unwholesome wrong rites and rituals. Then the third one, clinging to personality view. Because you do that action, let's say the soccer fan, then their personality is a soccer fan. For example, okay, so somebody found already, forgiveness. Okay, thank you so much for sharing in the chat group. So hopefully that will help Geraldine. So I'll continue my answer to Bunho. Okay, so for personality view, let's say I form a sentence. I am a Buddhist, or I am a Singaporean, I am a Chinese, I am a male. So the first word, I am, so that is the ego part. So that is the last few factors to overcome. Then the second term, the noun, the Buddhist, or I am a man, I am a Singaporean. So for example, I am a Buddhist. So the term Buddhist is actually this personality. So I always like to give this example. If let's say you're in this Zoom meeting now, what is your role? What is your role?
It's a yogi, it's a student.
Student, yeah? So student is a personality. So a person need to overcome this personality view.
Oh.
Yeah, so if let's say I am a Singaporean, then maybe somebody criticize Singapore no good lah, Singaporean is this, Singaporean, all the bad habits. If you cling, then you get upset lah.
Oh.
Or let's say you cling to nationality, race or religion, whatever you cling, whatever personality you form, so that will form this a kind of entity to be targeted.
Yeah. Is it something I recall there's a term called non-self, 无我. So
Yeah. So that's the first layer.
Oh, 分见和无我.
Yeah, so that's the first layer to overcome. So the personality view. So that's the first layer. It's like the outer skin of the onion. Onion ring got many layers of skin, right? So the personality view is the outside, outer skin. Then the inner one, the ego or the I, is the conceit. So that's only the Arahant can overcome. Okay, I will talk about that later. So the 二果罗汉 二果罗汉 have to overcome the first three things and reduce greed and anger.
Oh.
So basically, the stream enterer and the once returner still can get angry.
They were angry from their sense. For example, they see something or hear something or feel something that unpleasant. Even slight anger and still consider anger. Right?
Yeah, but they won't break the precepts lah.
Yeah, even let's say stream enterer, they will also not break the precept.
Yeah, stream enterer onwards won't break the precept.
Yeah, so the precept is the foundation.
Correct. Okay, so that's for the 二果罗汉, the once returner. So why is it called once returner? Because if a person reach once returner, they'll reborn the most one time, come back to the human one time.
Oh.
Or come back as a low level deva one more time. So for stream enterer 一果罗汉, it is believed that maximum they can get reborn 7 more lifetime. 7 more lifetime. So why 7? Because sometimes they still want to enjoy the senses. They still like to tour around. Samsara, haven't tour finished, I want to see this, I want to see that. So they still enjoy the senses.
They still have some kind of desire to enjoy, to see something or to do
correct.
something they wish to do.
Yes. But in life, there will always be ups and downs. So they enjoy, then there will be downtime. So when they meet crisis, then they will be reminded of the Dhamma. Then they will put in effort to practice again. So Buddha said maximum 7 lifetime. And by 7 lifetime, they will exit. They will graduate from samsara.
Yeah, then this explains why some people suffering from crisis, from sickness, from failure. They, after some reflection, some people they can wake up to put in more effort for practicing Buddhism.
So it doesn't have to be 7. Sometimes you're hardworking, can be 6, 5, 4, 3. Totally depend on how much effort you put in. Okay, then we move on to the non-returner, the 三果罗汉. So 三果罗汉, non-returner, will totally overcome greed and anger. So they overcome the 5 things. The first 3 things that we mentioned, doubt, personality view, clinging to rites and rituals, greed, anger. So they overcome these 5 things.
Okay, can a layman achieve san?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Interestingly, layperson also can reach 四果罗汉, Arahant. Yes.
Is there a history, example? Or?
Okay, a real example would be like the Buddha's father, King Suddhodana. But the King Suddhodana is at the deathbed lah. Then the Buddha have to give him Dhamma talk, so got personal coaching by the Buddha. Then he become an Arahant. So because the father was on the deathbed, about to die, then he reached enlightenment. Then within 7 days after his enlightenment, then he passed away. Then there's some misunderstanding lah. So people will, the commentators will put down this fact that the Buddha's father, after he got enlightened, he didn't ordain. So 7 days he passed away. So it somehow is being like
rumors,
like being spread like misinformation that a person if they don't ordain after they reach enlightenment will die, will die after 7 days. Yeah, so they will have this trending kind of opinion now. So if you get enlightened, must ordain, you never ordain, you confirm you'll die one. But sooner or later you'll die lah. But they believe that 7 days. Yeah.
I read some books say that actually there is a biography from about those Myanmar. From Myanmar. They say there's some rumors say, let's say someone enlightened, a layman enlightened should be ordained immediately.
Yeah, so that's the trend, the popular opinion. And if you don't ordain, then they say you'll die within 7 days.
And according to the author, right, the one of the reason is if the layperson don't ordain, right, then may some other there might be some misunderstanding from layperson towards this enlightened one. Then they may make some unwholesome behavior. Is it correct?
Yeah, so that is totally up to the choice of that person whether they want to ordain or is the conditions right for the person to ordain. Sometimes if a lay person, I think a bit hard for the monks to accept also. Imagine a person say they're enlightened to the monk and they want to ordain. I think a lot of monks will reject also.
This is very subjective and there's not measurable, right?
Yeah. Unless the person has some mind reading ability or the monk have some mind reading ability to judge. If not, a bit hard.
Okay, according to Vinaya, a monk cannot tell lay person that he is enlightened or have the higher knowledge, right? According to Vinaya.
Yes, correct.
But he can tell to the other monk that he is
yes, can share with other monks.
Oh, okay. By sharing this, the enlightened status, right? Is this monk have to show some like magic or what?
Yeah. So this is a very interesting question. Okay, so I'll cover the last 5 factors first.
Okay.
For the Arahant, they need to overcome. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten. Okay, restlessness. Restlessness. So a lot of people, when they meditate, they will say, "Oh, my mind very restless, like, the mind run here, run there like monkey." Because you're not enlightened, so the mind run here, run there. If you're enlightened, then don't have to come for class already. So confirm the mind will run here, run there, and the mind will attach to this running, clinging to form concentration. That means the 4 jhanas. Clinging to formless concentration, and the 4 formless concentration. So they overcome this, so they do not cling to these concentrations anymore. Then conceit, and the ego, the I. They overcome this ego. Then the last one is ignorance. They overcome ignorance. So ignorance and doubt are very close. Ignorance is like totally understand the Four Noble Truths. So a stream enterer only have a glimpse of the Four Noble Truths because they haven't totally eradicated craving, whereas the Arahant totally eradicated craving, so they have the total experience of the Four Noble Truths. The Third Noble Truth talks about cessation of craving. So these Arahant have this experience, this total cessation of craving. So they have the full range of experience. So that's the difference. So there's the 10 factors. So again, with your question about showing magic, so again, there's some maybe some schools or some people may have a certain expectation of an Arahant. They believe Arahant must have this psychic ability, can fly, can read minds, can do all kind of supernatural thing. I won't say imagination. There are some people that develop these things, but we call these higher knowledges, mundane higher knowledges. So that means people who have not reached enlightenment or no interest in enlightenment can develop these abilities also. For example, maybe demons. Demons also have this ability. Evil spirits, demons. So they are not interested in getting enlightened, so they can fly, they can see other realms, they have psychic powers. So Mara have psychic power, but is not enlightened. So all these, we call this mundane higher knowledges. Any samsaric being, the right conditions, can develop these abilities. Some people with psychic tendencies might develop this also and might use it for the wrong causes. So one good documented case would be in the Cold War, US and Russia, when they had the war during Cold War. They have this program called remote viewing. So they gather those spies who have some psychic potential and give them some training, and they're able to just draw a map of the enemy territory without crossing to the enemy territory, and they can pinpoint the location and they can just bomb the place. So they use this ability to bomb other people. We call this mundane skill. So nothing wholesome, may not be wholesome. In the suttas, in the scriptures, there's mention of Arahants who don't have all these psychic abilities also. One good example is the Susima Sutta, Susima. Arahants without all these special abilities, cannot see past life, cannot see devas, cannot fly, don't have all these things, but they are enlightened. So that also about monk declaring to another monk can be quite dangerous if the other monks believe that enlightened being must have all these supernatural abilities. Then they start to test, how come you cannot fly one? They say, you're telling lies like that. You're not an Arahant.
I know that in the history, like Lompo Mahabwa, they, according to the books, they are enlightened Arahant.
That one is the students after him will say that he's an Arahant. So like Lompuman, Lompuman never said he was an Arahant.
I read Lompuman biography. He can read minds according to the author, which the Mahabwa is the author.
Okay.
And he don't have any other knowledge here, but I think especially have this read minds, can read people's minds ability.
The biography of this Ajahn Man is a lot of fantastic, fantasy stuff. Is able to see devas also, and have some interaction and stories and stuff like that. It's like good to know, but ultimately you need to practice. Practice to get out of samsara, not to pursue all these supernatural things.
I believe also, even from my real experience, even we can see light, see Deva or those spirits, it's not a wisdom to lead us to awaken or enlighten.
Yep.
Just like seeing magic show or watching.
Yep.
Okay, one more thing is recently I read biography of Dao Gun King. It's just some personal sharing. Actually, they are very similar experience like Long Pu Man also. You can when he go into the right samadhi. For example, he meditate the whole night. Then he can see those deva or see those hungry ghosts or yeah. So from my point of view, it probably is a sharing of the right value to the leaders. This is my opinion.
Yeah. So some of these accounts, again, we just take it with a pinch of salt. Like even though like the Buddha's account, is the Buddha able to interact with the devas and stuff like that. It's not like a must-have kind of ability, but yeah, the scriptures do teach techniques in order to sort of achieve these supernormal feats. Normally they are like the visualization kind of practices. If you visualize for a very, very long time, you need to put in lots of persistence, effort, and intent, and so on and so forth. But not everybody is suitable for this kind of practices. So one good example is like what you mentioned, because all these things is a bit like watching entertainment or magic show. One way to know whether you're suitable to do this kind of practice or have this ability is to check your own internet search history.
Oh, yeah.
If the internet search history is full of nonsense, then please better don't develop this ability. Because once you have this special ability, then you kepo, wow, I want to kepo this person, kepo the other person. Wow, this realm you kepo, that one you kepo. Then it's you're basically opening yourself to more channels. More this supernatural YouTube kind of channel for yourself. So it's not helpful.
Agree. And one last point, when I first meet Bhante 2 years ago at Palelai meditation, and during the Q&A session, I asked Bhante about I don't see any nimitta or deep light. Then Bhante said it's a good form for a yogi, for me also. That time I don't really understand. I just thinking I don't see nimitta, I don't see light practicing anapana. Then it could be a failure or it's not there's no progress for me. Then lately after this 2 years, I realized not seeing that is good for me. Let's say this tonight I see the light, then tomorrow I don't see the light. I will keep changing. I maybe ask myself why I don't see the light. I may create a lot of question to me, and this is not wrong. So it's better don't see light, don't see nimitta, just practice, meditate naturally.
Okay, so these nimittas and lights are actually the pathway to develop this divine eye. For those people who want to maybe see past life or see beings of other realm, then you need to have these visual cues and you need to focus in on a very long time.
But it doesn't need to awaken or enlightenment. It's not a wisdom. Right?
Yeah, it's we call it mundane higher knowledge. Worldly higher knowledge.
Okay.
Right. Okay, Ken. Thank you, Boon Ho. Okay, Bhante, there's another question from Tzu Jia. She said, following on the discussion of enlightenment, how does one know or tell whether a person is enlightened?
Yeah, very good question. A bit hard to tell. In fact, one good example is this Venerable Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta is the chief disciple of the Buddha, foremost in wisdom, an arahant. So one day he came across another of Buddha's cousin. His name is Bhaddiya. Venerable Bhaddiya. So Venerable Bhaddiya is kind of like junior monk, so basically ordained later, much later than Venerable Sariputta. But Venerable Bhaddiya is also an Arahant. So one day they cross path. So out of protocol, the junior monk have to pay respect to the senior monk. So this Venerable Bhaddiya pay respect to Venerable Sariputta. So both of them are Arahants. But Venerable Sariputta don't know this Venerable Bhaddiya is an Arahant. So the Venerable Sariputta was thinking, this is like a new monk, right? So should give him words of encouragement for him to practice, to practice, put in more effort in the practice so that he can achieve the path. So Venerable Sariputta is like giving him a lecture. Then the Buddha walked past and saw what happened. Then the Buddha asked Venerable Sariputta, come over here. This monk, Venerable Bhaddiya, is already enlightened already. Don't have to give him this lecture. So even an enlightened being, unable to tell another person is enlightened. So again, to know who is enlightened, you need certain, mind awareness skill. And different skill set. Hopefully that answers the question. So one good, another case study would be, even devas, heavenly beings, may not know a person reached enlightenment. Heavenly beings got divine eye, heavenly eye, also cannot tell that a person reached enlightenment. So one good example is the Buddha's life story in his quest and his search for enlightenment. So the Buddha, before he reached enlightenment, was practicing various forms of asceticism. So one of them is practicing this extreme fasting. So he's practicing fasting, about to die, so skinny, cannot walk properly, the skin changed color and so on. So some of the devas look at this monk, so skinny, so tiny, so skinny and about to die. Then he was thinking, this is the Arahant already, he's enlightened already. So devas also can say this. And because even though they have divine eye, they only can see their realm, that state of mind, and lower. They cannot see that state of mind and higher. So they are, for example, the sensual devas, unable to see the mind with jhanas, unable to see the mind with enlightenment, or different stages of enlightenment. So only this Brahma Sampati, this four-faced Deva, four-faced Brahma, he's in the pure abode. So the pure abode is like quite close to full enlightenment already. Then he is able to know, the Buddha reached enlightenment, go down and invite the Buddha to teach. So
Bhante,
yes.
So Tzu Jia further asks, so would the person himself know that he is enlightened?
So I've mentioned about the 10 fetters, the checklist. So if a person has no more ego, totally no more greed, no more anger, then pretty close.
Right. Okay. Right. Anyone? You want to unmute and ask Bhante directly, or you can type in the chat box and I can read out the question for you.
Bhante, I ask you a question.
Yep.
Those who are already a stream enterer, because they still have like 7 life or less than that to go, would they actually slide back in one of the lifetime?
Oh, no. They won't go to any of the 3 lower realms. So guaranteed human or higher. So this is like the safety point. It's like people playing the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Then there's like a certain safe point, So the stream enterer is something like that. You have a certain safe point. Confirm you'll get that amount of merits. You won't lose that amount of merits. So sometimes or nowadays the modern Theravada trend is to aim for stream entry. They don't want to aim for enlightenment, they want to aim for stream entry. Yeah, so because of the safety point.
Okay. Anyone else?
Any other questions?
Or Sing Hui? Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read out this.
Bante, what about the... sorry.
Okay, never mind, you can ask question.
Yes. Bante?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Bante, what about for Theravada Buddhism, right? How do you view the concept of good fortune linking to the quality of life that person has?
Good fortune. So whatever a person experiences without their current cause, like for example, somebody born rich, good fortune, and we say it's due to past merits, due to past merits.
So this lifetime, they always say must do a lot of merits, right?
Yep.
Okay, so to continue their good life. Okay.
Yep.
Right. Okay, yes, Bante, just now you wanted to mention something.
Yeah, because this S.K. Ng has found the suttas, so I have to thank her. So briefly read out the two quotes that she brought up. So one is from Anguttara Nikaya. So monks, these 6 things are conducive to great benefit: forgiveness and patience. So these are 2 of the qualities. And also Majjhima Nikaya 21.6. Ananda, when someone has wronged you, respond with forgiveness. Forgive and you will be forgiven. Yeah, so this is on forgiveness.
Okay. Any other questions or maybe even comments or thoughts? It may not be a question.
Yep, today last day already.
Yeah. Susan, do you have any comments? Oh. Yeah, I think she's unmuted herself.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, I think I leave the floor to ask more questions so that I can learn from you too. Yeah, because we can ask one day very often. Thank you very much. Yeah.
One more question.
Okay.
In Theravada, there are 10 parami. One of them is Chuli. Is it something like Nikama?
Nekama.
Yeah,
I think renunciation.
renunciation. From my understanding, this one is it? Can we say is a detachment?
Yeah, very close. Yeah.
So
that
detachment
counts.
from the sense, pleasure, desire.
Yep. Correct.
Okay.
So renunciation is not the physical renunciation. Yeah, it's more on the mental kind of renunciation.
Okay.
So like we've seen in the disciplinary cases in the Buddha's time, even the monks, they may officially ordain, officially sort of renounce, but mentally still do all kinds of funny things. Yeah, sometimes unwholesome things even. So that's not the real renunciation. Renunciation eventually is to let go of the greed and anger. No?
Yeah, from both mental and physical, inside and outside of the mind. Okay. What? All these parami, is this similar to the awakened or enlightened? What is the relation?
Yeah. Okay. So these 10 paramita or 10 paramis.
Yeah.
Not so much emphasized in the original Buddhism, so it's more mentioned in the Xiaopu, the Khuddaka Nikayas. So they mention a lot of these paramitas. So they are, again, it's a different perspective, different ways to look at the cultivation. It's good to have all these qualities. And again, there's a different spectrum on how you practice, like how patient is patient, how much generosity is generosity, and stuff like that. Yeah, depends on how much effort you put in.
Oh, okay. And recently I meet one monk in Halela, I think last December.
Okay.
His name is Ajahn Goh. Then I told Ajahn Goh that after I learned 2 years ago, after I learned the Goenka Vipassana, after 6 months, I start to feel that I lost interest to layman term, for example, earning money or go around the world, go restaurant or buy luxury car. Usually this is very common in the as for a layman desire thing. I say I like to practice meditation. I like to go temple. Then I eat because of I'm hungry and my body need nutrition. I wear clothes because I need to cover my body and to protect my body. I live a normal house and a normal transport. Public transport I'm also sufficient. Yeah. Then I always think that I want peace, I want to relax my mind, I want get samadhi. Then the monk say, if I have this kind of thinking, come to temple and ordain. But if I am a layman and a family man, it's not good for me. I have a lot of responsibility to fulfill, to finish it. This is the advice from the monk. So from that point of time, I asked myself, is this truly same as awaken or enlighten? Then I Google, I found that it might not correct. It's just one of the 10 paramita, right?
So normally if a person like meditate or go for a retreat, there's some states of peace, and sometimes very normal for people to be attached to the peace. So real equanimity is actually to go about your daily life, continue your fulfill your duties and responsibilities without emotionally being shaken. So that's the real Kung Fu, the real skill. So even if a person were to ordain, like initially when I ordained, I thought, become a monk, just meditate whole day, nothing to do. Not true. Not true. So it depends on which temple you go, because every temple is different. Some temple require the monks to work a lot, do a lot of construction, especially the Thai tradition. Construction work, monk whole day carry the sand, carry the bricks, do sawing or workshop, whole day working, So your whole body aching already, you cannot even sit down. So it depends on which place you go. So, or some place is ritual a whole day, ceremony, ritual, chanting, funeral ritual, house blessing, whole day ritual. So depends on which place you go also. Then you need to find some time to do your own research, window shopping, go to temple and see which one suit you.
Okay.
Then some places maybe fully academic, no meditation, just study.
Study sutta or chanting whole day, right?
So you need to see which one suit you.
Okay. I even meet Chao Kun Keng, or probably last sharing. I also told Chao Kun Keng, they say I meet some monk that have higher knowledge, can see the past, can see the future. But the monk that have high knowledge cannot help me to fulfill my wish. I mean, to be ordained, to let go everything. They asked me to wait. Then I share this point to Chao Kun Keng. Chao Kun Keng also say, have to finish all my responsibility. For example, my children independent, then I can have peace of mind to let go all the layman responsibility and focus on practicing Dharma and ordained. This is the advice. I also asked Chagungan, by the time I already 60, maybe I'm too old. He said, not necessarily. As long as I'm not lazy, I'm healthy, he still considered to accept my request to be ordained. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, sorry if I asked questions.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your comment. Anyone else want to ask or share?
Yeah, Bante, can I clarify on the personality, because you mentioned the stream enterer, they don't have attachment to personality. Yeah, because let's say we are still in this world, right? If a person, he or she becomes stream enterer, did he still live as a normal person? Let's say, for example, let's say the person is Chinese, then family around the person still celebrate Chinese New Year. Is it that he will also still celebrate but without attachment, or is it like, he totally don't celebrate? Just curious.
Yeah, then it's totally up to that person. Totally up to that person. Now, how much they sense the stress from certain rituals, or if let's say the family or like to gamble during Chinese New Year. It depends on the comfort level and the intention. Mainly is the intention, not so much on the external thing, because everything we do should have ritual, like from brushing our teeth, how we eat our food, all these are kind of ritual also. Yeah, so it's more on the intention behind. After sort of carrying out that so-called ritual, is the mind wholesome or unwholesome?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Bante.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, sorry, actually I signed for all this one. Now, building paramitas, is it a needed thing?
Depends on perspective. If you want to use the because for Theravada Buddhism, we do not have like a concise syllabus or structure with regard to training of these paramis. Probably in Mahayana Buddhism, they have more structure. So Theravada is just mentioned briefly, and in the most they just mention the Buddha's past lives and the Jataka tales with relation to the paramis. But for the current practitioners, the Buddha's disciples in Theravada Buddhism, there's no mention. The Buddha never mentioned you should practice the paramita. So it's not mentioned in Theravada Buddhism.
But I thought in some talks in the Facebook, they talk about building the paramis.
Yeah, so again, it's perspective, because some of the paramis are considered wholesome qualities. So even though the Theravada Buddhists may not officially follow like a structure of the 10 paramitas to practice, indirectly you might fulfill some of them.
Yeah, I think in the Pali Lines chanting book, there's 10 paramis, right?
10 paramis, yeah, in the chanting book. So that's more like post-canonical, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, but the Buddha did not stress on building the paramis.
For the Theravada scripture, no. The Buddha didn't teach his disciples to fulfill the 10 paramis. Yeah.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay. Like earlier on, I read the thing from the chat, like forgiveness and patience. So some of the qualities they cross with some of the qualities of the paramis. But the Buddha didn't specifically mention the 10 paramis to be practiced. Yeah.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay, no problem.
Bante, I checked my own. They're so different from that one. Because in that, I don't know which Anguttara Nikaya the text came from. Else I can't find in my own book.
Yes, probably your book limited lah.
Oh, okay.